Hello, this is Scott Moore, the Baden-Powell Service Association, and we're going to be going over some of the knots for the rover practical training. The first thing I want to do is show you a diamond knot, and I'm kind of doing this in reverse. Usually I would like to tie these first and show you how to tie them and then show you the finished knot when we're done. However, the diamond knot is an extremely difficult knot to tie. So when I got one that looked pretty good, I wanted to save that for demonstration purposes. The purpose of a diamond knot is really ornamental. There really isn't a lot of practical use to it per se. It's really intended to be a kind of fancy ornamental knot you would tie perhaps in your necker, or it's the basis for a woggle in wood beads. Also, if you complete a rover quest, your progress thong has a diamond knot tied into it. So this is what a diamond knot, this is what a good diamond knot looks like. Unlike an overhand knot or a reef knot, a square knot, once you tie those, the knot is essentially done. With a diamond knot, once you tie it, you actually have to work the knot, and I'm getting my working end in the picture there. Once you tie the knot, you actually have to work it a little bit to actually tighten it up so you get this kind of pattern in it. So, like I said, it's usually hard to get this knot to look fairly good, and this one came out fairly well, so I'm going to use that for demo purposes and show it off. So there we go. That's what it's supposed to look like when it's done. So now I'm going to untie this, and hopefully I will do it step by step and you'll get an idea of how to tie this. There actually is a pretty good set of diagrams in the rover handbook. It starts with what's called a carrot bend, and if you can tie a carrot bend, it's pretty easy to follow through and make a diamond knot from there. The only difficulty, or the only additional step, like I said, is you actually have to physically tighten up the individual loops in the knot to make it look appropriate. So I'm using a fairly long piece of rope to tie the knot, so it'll take me a few seconds here to undo. See, what else can I tell you about the diamond knot? Because, like I said, it's primarily ornamental. Every time you complete a rover quest, you tie an additional diamond knot into your progress thong, which is worn over your shoulder and into your pocket. The easy way, or I should say one of multiple ways to start off, what I found is easiest for me is to start off taking the two ends of the rope you want a diamond knot in and make a loop at each end, and that will eventually lead you to the carrot bend, which I will show you momentarily. Alright. So I have my two ends of my rope. I am going to make a loop in one end. The working end over my shoulder for the time being. So there is my first loop. I want to show you where the working end and the standing end are of that. So my working end is actually behind the front of the loop, the way you're looking at it, and comes up on top, right where my fingers are. And you can see the green whipping at the end of the rope. So that's going to be one end of my carrot bend, or one side of my carrot bend. I'm going to take my other end of my rope and do the same thing. I'm going to do a loop here as well. Now the trick is I'm going to wrap these loops around, whoops, get them in the video there. So I have two separate loops. I'm actually going to wrap these around each other. So I'm going to go the way you're looking at it, on the right side, this loop is going to go behind. Let me give myself enough of a working end there. I'm going to go behind the first loop that I made, except I'm going to go over the standing end of it, behind the working end of it. Then I'm going to go over the loop, behind its own standing end, and then I'm going to pull it out this loop. So when I'm done, I'm going to end up with something that has 7 little spaces in it, looking like that. There's my basic carrot bend. If I can get that, the ends in there, you can see from the whipping where the two ends, or the two working ends of my rope are. So if you can kind of follow, I know it's kind of difficult with a lot of twists in there, but hopefully I'm displaying enough of it that you can see basically each working end is its own crossed over loop, and they just happen to be worked around each other. So once we've got that much done, we want to, I'm going to try to work this a little bit now just so I can give myself a little bit longer section on the working ends and a little bit tighter carrot bend in the middle. There. So now what we want to do is take this piece to the right, oops, this piece to the right, and I'm going to wrap this around clockwise to about the 9 o'clock position. And I'm going to take this part on the left and wrap it around clockwise to the 3 o'clock position. Can you see why I said this was going to be a difficult knot to tie? Or at least tricky. So now I've got my carrot bend in the middle, and I have my two working ends rotated clockwise, so they're at the 3 and 9 o'clock position. I'm then going to take them, wrap them behind, and poke them through that middle hole. Both of them go behind and through that middle hole. So you can see now my two working ends sticking out of the hole. I'm going to grab those two working